Tojo B and Tojo BTV, and today I got some special guests with me. I have Cydney, and I met these people about months ago. They suffer from what I suffer from, I think. And so I asked them last night, would they join me in a podcast, and they said they would. So we some questions, ask them some questions. Today's podcast is brought by Anchor. Same way y'all say I ain't never did one, I ain't never did one with dual.
Right.
So, a couple weeks ago, I did it for the first time with my friend, man, and Cody M. And we had a good time, man. So yeah, I'm just gonna start with you, Cody, and just ask you, man, what happened? You know, what made you think you was an addict or whatever, man, and your process, man. So just go, man.
All right, well, my name's Cody. I'm an addict, alcoholic, addicted to anything I can get my hands on. And for me, it started off at like 11, 12 years old. I started smoking weed, drinking, running the streets, getting into all the bullshit I could get into, man. And my mom caught me stealing her shit at about 12. And from that point on, she kind of said, instead of going out and doing it on your own, I'd rather you sit here and do it with me. And at that time of my life, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. You know, and me and my mom just kind of, all through middle school and high school, partied. Everybody in my neighborhood always thought they could come over to my house. It's the coolest thing, man. We go to Cody's house. That's the party spot. Nobody get in trouble. Ain't nobody's parents gonna find out. We can do whatever we want to do over there. And for me, that was, I thought at the time it was a blessing.
Right.
You know, so that's what I did, man. I went all the way through middle school and high school just like that. Partied, smoked weed, drank. You know, everybody that was sneaking out and needed an excuse for where they was going to be said they was going to, you know, my house, or they would say they was going somewhere else and come to my house and this, that, and another. And that's where it started for me, man. Me and my mom ended up doing everything together. And about 15, well, I caught my first case. When I was 12 years old. I caught a breaking and entering vandalism charge at 12 years old. Got put on probation for that, man, and by the time I started turning like 16, 17, I started getting arrested for trafficking charges. Got arrested in the middle of a road for fighting my stepdad one time, chasing him around the streets with a broken beer bottle on my 17th birthday. In and out of different places, in and out of juvie, in and out of psych wards, in and out of court systems, man, and that's just kind of how I lived my life for a while. And somehow I managed to graduate high school 6 months early, got enrolled into college, started in college before my class even graduated, but I couldn't do nothing with it because in college, you can walk out of class whenever the hell you want to walk out of class. So that's what I did, man. I walked out of class. Every time I got a chance, I walked out to the parking lot of the college and was selling drugs in the parking lot. I thought somehow I was going to get a degree like that.
Yeah.
So 19 years old, man, I caught my first felony case as an adult. One of my best friends at the time, like a sister to me, set me up. I took a pound of weed to the cops and got myself a 3-year sentence.
So say it again, hold on. I don't wish I heard. What now? What happened?
This girl that I was like, she was almost like a sister to me, man. This girl, I like grew up with her, and I hadn't seen her for a while, man. She had gone into the Coast Guard. I hadn't seen her for a while. She come back to Kentucky, man, and she calls me and she's like, "Hey, I need some weed." and some pills, and I had sold her mom weed for years, man. She's like, my mom needs some weed. She shows up saying she wants like a half quarter, and then she gets there and she's like, oh, my mom's got $3,800. What can I get for that? And I'm trying to make some money, so I tell her 3 pounds.
Right.
So I had 1 pound on me at the time, man. I went and pick up my dude. We take 1 pound and like 50-something pills with us. She drove us straight to the cops. Yeah, drove us straight to the cops. I got it in my motion discovery. She set me up, man, and I got a 3-year sentence over it. That's when I started doing real time. And, I went to jail, got out on bond. Well, here's where I really found out how bad of an addict I was. I was on Opanas when I went to jail. And I used to tell people all the time, they was telling me, man, you're falling off. You're turning into a junkie. You're doing this, you're doing that. And I'd say, man, you ain't never seen a junkie riding around in a car like this with a pocket full of money like this.
So your perception of a junkie wasn't, because of what you had.
My perception of a junkie was that dude is standing on the side of the street at a bus stop falling over while he's standing.
Get it.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't got no money. He's out here panhandling with a cardboard sign. And the crazy thing is I turned into all that.
Wow.
Yeah. But at the time, I thought, regardless of how much dope I'm doing, if I got the baddest girl in the room, if I got the dopest car in the room, and I got a pocket full of money, you can't tell me I'm a junkie, because junkies don't have this.
That's right.
And that's what I...
Yeah, I understand that fully.
And then I had to detox in jail. That's when...
Talk about that.
Man, I went to jail. I was hooked on Opanas. I was real bad off on Opanas. And I went to jail. And I flipped out in a holding cell, man, and threatened to kill the guards and myself if they didn't get me out of there. They put my...
Jefferson County, Louisville Metro.
No, this was Meade County Jail.
Meade County, down the street.
Down the street,
Yeah.
Louisville Metro. By this point, I done been in and out of Louisville Metro too, but not for no felony cases.
Okay.
I've been in and out of there for stealing and this, that, and another. Wake up on Xanax and not know if I'm in there for murder or jaywalking. You know, all that kind of shit, man. And so I went to Meade County Jail. And I went in there, flipped out, told the guards I was gonna kill them and me both. They put my dumb ass in a turtle suit for 7 days. And man, that was my first real experience with true dope sickness. Like I had felt bad before, but there was always something close and nearby. I didn't never have to get to day 2 or 3. I didn't have to get to 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Got that.
I went and got that, man, and I had to deal with that coming off Opanas. And anybody know what Opanas are like? That ain't no joke. So I'm in there.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I can imagine.
It's no joke, man, at all. And so I was coming off Opanas, and I'm doing what everybody does. I'm on that little blue phone, calling everybody and their mom, man. If somebody just bonds me out, I swear, I put it on my kid's life. I'll never do this again.
Yeah.
And my grandma did. She come up there and she bonded me out, man. I had a $10,000 bond. They reduced it to 10%. She put the $1,000 down, and I was high within 2 hours. That's where I started realizing where I was powerless, man.
The depths where we go, man. Who we heard or what we tell people. Yeah, I experienced it too. Like, it does not matter.
Don't matter, man.
I swear I will never do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do it. I always do it again.
Yeah, I put it on my kid's life, man. I literally couldn't stay sober for the sake of my kid's life.
Yeah. Let me, thanks, Cody. We're
Yeah.
gonna get back because we want to finish. You know, that's what you started. That's
Yeah.
what happened. And I went to Cydney, pretty much the same thing. I met you up here a little after Cody.
Yeah.
But I've heard you share your experience in the media sometime, and I would love for you to tell my viewers the same thing. You can help somebody. Just basically tell me what happened, how it started.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for letting us do this with you.
Thank you.
I'm Cydney. I'm an addict.
Cydney.
I guess I was sitting here. Yeah, Cydney, not Cindy.
Cindy, yeah, she had to check me last night. Cindy.
Don't play about that.
I guess I was sitting here thinking about it when Cody was talking, and my perception of why I was doing those things when I was doing them is totally different than how I see it now. I always felt, when I was young, probably about 7, 8, 9. Our house was kind of like the party house, and I was the youngest of three girls, and my parents were divorced. We lived with my mom, and so our house was the party house. And I wanted to fit in with the older girls. I smoked weed for the first time when I was 8, and I can't really remember a lot of details from back then, but I know that we weren't going to school very much at all. My friend, which I found out years later, my friend's grandma, she was my best friend, I thought. 8 years old. Right. But I found out years later that her grandma would never let her come over to my house because every time that she would go for a walk around the neighborhood, she just smelled weed by our house. And I always kind of knew that, like, I was different from the other kids in my class. They presented themselves in a way that was totally foreign to me. And at that point, I hadn't necessarily been through, I guess what is normally seen as traumatic events. Just kind of like a day-to-day, unstructured, definitely not that, 7 o'clock TV show on the lineup on ABC or something, family.
I sort of experienced that. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
I get I was that type. I came from that world, so yeah, you didn't experience that.
Right, I did not.
I really did.
I've always kind of been like older for my age, I guess. And so my middle sister, my mom worked a lot, and she was doing everything that she knew how to do, and I see that now as an adult. But she worked really hard for us, and we ran all over her. I mean, she would chase me around the living room, the coffee table, trying to spank me, and I would run and laugh. Like, her trying to discipline me was a joke. It was a fucking joke.
Let me ask you, in real time, are you thinking of it now? Was there a time through step work or some time through your recovery process that you noticed that? Like a lot of times, I may just be talking to somebody and I'll be telling, like, you
have a realization.
Live talking, and you just go back to something that you've really done, and then you'll be like, wow, I did that. So have you thought about that before?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have. The more that I think about it, the more in depth it gets, for sure. Okay. But, so, like I said, we weren't going to school, and my dad took my mom to court for custody of us girls. And he ended up getting custody of me and my middle sister. And so, and mind you, I was a mama's girl. Like, even though, our living situation was not conventional, I was attached at my mom's hip. I was a mama's girl.
Gotcha.
And so when my dad, from how I saw it then, ripped us away from our mother, that just kind of set a whole new string of events for me personally. And I had a really rough time with that. And on top of, this huge change in my life, I go from living in a house that is a party house to, girls that are older than me. I feel cool. They want the little baby sister to do the stuff they're doing because it'd be funny. I'm doing it because I think I'm cool. It's like, but and then I moved into my dad's, and he just is not like my mom. He's very what's it called?
Conventional?
No, kind of. The love where they're not like nice.
Tough love. He's more tough love for sure.
And he didn't put up with our bullshit. And so it was totally different for me. And no, along with that, about 2 months later, my mom moved from Arkansas to Texas with my oldest sister. And I didn't realize until a few years ago what that had done to me in itself. I guess I kind of felt like my mom abandoned us, and I just couldn't understand, like why she was able to take my oldest sister to another state away from us, but she couldn't have kept us in the beginning, and so that was really hard for me. At this point I'm like 10 years old, and my mom has, I wouldn't say run off, but I felt left behind. And so I went from seeing her every other weekend to seeing her twice a year. And I started getting older. I'm still not really fitting in. I'm coming out of this area where I was kind of I was just in this shell, and people wouldn't understand me because people have never understood me, and right. But now I'm supposed to be living this other way, and no one's telling me how to, and I don't know what to do with my hands, and so it was just a very uncomfortable situation. I made a couple of friends in 5th grade. These girls would come up to me and they'd be arm in arm, they were best friends, and they would come up to me whenever we were like out in the common area, like recess or whatever you have in 6th grade. And that was actually in 5th grade when I first moved there. And they would come and talk to me, and I would get really excited whenever they'd come talk to me. I was like, these girls want to be my friend. But I would just stay leaned up against the pole watching all the kids play because I felt uncomfortable. And so the next year, I don't know what happened, but the next year I actually started sitting with them at lunch, whereas before, like, I would just like stare at my tray, my food tray through lunch and just wait for it to be over. And so I started hanging out with these girls, kind of started opening up, and I don't know, it was just a different life for me. I had, my mom had started, moving up in her career and stuff, and I guess I just really was, I was really resentful towards my dad, and I lived with him, and he wasn't putting up with my shit. My mom took everything I said, exactly how I said it. And she was always against my dad and always pushing us away from my dad, and my whole life, really. And then, of course, I get older. I start, I guess, like, I want the boys to like me. I want to be paid attention to. And, of course, my mom has already warped my mind and told me that, men are... Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying you're expressing your dad.
Yeah, exactly. And
expressing your dad's relationship.
yeah, and they had a pretty toxic relationship. But I guess, I don't know, I just thought that, I was told, men only want one thing, so there's my worth, already, out of the gate, and of course I get older, and there starts to be some physical backlash from me. I'm not blaming myself by any means, but I carried myself in a manner, and I thought that I wanted certain things from people, and that showed. And like I said, I'm not blaming myself, but I do have to see my part in situations now. I can't do anything about what has been done to me. I can't do anything about how I felt then. I can't do anything about the situations that I've been in. I can just see how I reacted and see how how what I did and dealt with those things, how it impacted my life. And that just added to the whole concept of my self-worth, or lack thereof, being determined by other people. And in certain cases, with that kind of thing, certain people in my family, I felt, didn't stand on my side. And, you know, like they did, I guess, what they could in that moment, but it was, to me, I felt like some situations were just kind of brushed under the rug. And so, you know, there goes my self-worth again. And mind you, you know, like I can say, like, I'm a good-looking girl. My whole life I've been told that I was pretty.
You are pretty, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I'm glad that, like, I'm a good looking girl. Like, you know, like, I'm not mad about it. You know,
And I'm sure
but
Cody knows you're pretty.
I mean, I think he said it a time or two.
No way, yeah.
Don't make him blush.
On camera, at least.
He doesn't tell very many people that.
Let's go. I think.
No, this is about her.
But, you know, one of my things, I mean, I'm grateful that that I have experienced the things that I've experienced that come from my looks, you know, because one of the things that I want to do is bring awareness to the fact that just because you're pretty, just because you're this, just because you're that, you know, you have to be a good person regardless. I mean, you don't have to be, but it certainly helps, you know, it makes life easier. Not only for other people that are around you, but for yourself, you know. I can be pretty all day long, and I can be a shitty person, you know, like, I'm not trying to add to any kind of, okay, I'm getting off track, but my point is that I have always been seen for my looks, and I know what that did to my confidence. I know what that did to my self-worth. I know what that did to everything about me, you know, and I refuse now to allow physical things and people's idea of me. Those things can't determine what I do and who I am.
Like, people sharing that, I hear you say, I want to bring awareness, and there's a lot of young ladies that do listen to my podcast, and I think you'll be very helpful with that information. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So anyways, so basically, you know, like, I grew up just with no confidence, you know, was a lot of the thing for me is what a lot of the things that I dealt with boiled down to, I guess you could say. And of course I get older, and I hadn't, you know, like, I drank several times, like in high school and stuff. But mostly I smoked pot a lot, and I would drink every once in a while. Well, whenever I got out of high school, which, by the way, I had big dreams in high school. I was going to move to New York and be a fashion designer or a makeup artist, or, you know, or a psychiatrist. I don't know how any of those things go together, but well, here we are. But that didn't happen. I guess I thought that just having a big dream was going to get me somewhere. It doesn't work that way. You know, you got to put in the footwork.
Yes.
Apparently, you got to do something.
Yes.
So, well, what I did was I just got out of high school, and I wanted to be free. You know, or what I thought was free. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I most certainly did that. And that's when drugs started getting involved, and it just, you know, it just kind of took off from there. I would go to work fucked up. I was working in a restaurant, and it wasn't that many, or like the tips weren't very big. But like whatever I made in tips, that was my high for that night. And if I went to work, I would go in, just still messed up from the night before. I mean, I remember many days. Can I be specific about drugs? Okay. It started out I was doing a lot of coke, and that was pretty much every night, unless I was taking a break, and that would be for a night. But of course, I was drinking on all of these nights, especially on the nights where I wasn't, doing coke. And then one night, and I remember the exact moment that I found out, I had accidentally done meth, thinking it was coke. Man, that shit burned. Oh my God, no! I was like, that is some shitty ass coke.
Cut off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's no mistaking
and,
the truth.
Well, later on, I had 2 people that not ask me if I had done some coke, and I was like, no. Apparently, I was, chatty Cathy, yeah, and I didn't even realize.
I like it.
Chewing on cigarettes.
But right. Yeah.
Preoccupied.
Right.
Doing something.
Took the dashboard out of your car.
Yeah. No, I was driving somebody else's car, but close. But yeah, it was kind of a funny story, but I found out that I accidentally, it was meth. And well, after that, I was like, well, boys and girls, here we go. And I just was like, well, fuck it, like I'm trying to stay high all night, So I did the old switcheroo. And found out that it was coming from down the road, and one of my old high school friends was dating the cook. So there's my in. I don't have to have sex with anybody. Like I don't have to, I don't have to do a lot of things that a lot of people have had to do for drugs. And so I would just kick it with them all the time. That lasted for a few months. I got a boyfriend, because, well, I had never had a boyfriend at this point, and I thought it was dumb to have relationships in high school. And here goes my self-worth once again. He's in drug court actually at this point, and I guess I kind of thought that he was gonna save me. Now that I'm like speaking on it, I feel like I just feel so grateful that I'm really realizing that a lot of the reactions I had were due to just like things that I had going on mentally and emotionally, and I was just never happy with myself, and no matter how much people pointed out what I had, and which a lot of it was my looks, as if being cute or something is gonna make you happy. And that just, I don't know, it just really annoyed me because I was always very unhappy. I was bullied in high school. Man, I don't know what I was thinking now. I feel kind of embarrassed saying it, but I know that I can't hold the shit in, but I started cutting myself up and stuff, and when I was 16, and got on antidepressants and all that stuff, and that's when I really, really discovered. I was probably about 15 or 16, but that's when I really started being able to listen to music that, I was able to venture out and listen to different kinds of music because we got the internet. But yeah, and
people being honest though, I don't know that this podcast is intended to help others.
Yeah. Yeah.
to do a podcast and be open with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not gonna cut you off here with time straight.
I talk about it.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. I just wanted to shift gears and just go back to Cody and just get his in, and then we'll go back to you.
Right.
We're like 30 minutes in now, and it's okay. I'll do what I have to do on my podcast in. So you know where we're at.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Cody. So, the last thing you said you were dope sick, you getting sick, and
Yeah.
you realized what dope sickness was.
Yeah, I realized, thanks Cydney for sharing your story. And I realized what dope sickness was, man, and then I got out of jail, and no matter what was on the line, I couldn't stay away from dope. Even though I knew the sickness to come with it, I knew I had a child to take care of. I'm talking about a newborn child. I went to jail when my daughter was 2 months old to actually serve out my sentence. A couple times before that, I'd made bond, got dope sick, all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't do it, no matter what. No matter what, I could not do it. And so I served out my time, man, and locked up, finished out my 3-year sentence, got released on mandatory reentry, and they gave me a substance abuse program from home. I had to go report to these classes. I didn't make it 3 days in these classes, man. Not 3 days. I got high right out the gate, getting out on parole, and been locked up for all this time, man. And the second I got out, made all these promises, swears. Man, if I make parole, things will be different this time. I didn't make it 3 days in this class, man. I walked in and tried to use yellow Gatorade to pass a piss test, and yellow Gatorade shows up dirty for opiates.
Wow.
Yeah. Yellow Gatorade shows up dirty for opiates, man. That's the type of luck I had. For real.
I would never. Yeah.
Me neither. I'm driving through downtown Louisville with a 5-hour energy shot full of yellow Gatorade sitting on a defrost heater.
Yeah, trying to get the temperature
right. Got it right, man. Get in there, the temperature's right. But I'm still dirty, and I didn't even piss.
Right.
So.
Did you ever stop to consider that maybe someone peed in your Gatorade because they didn't like you?
I walked into Thornton's, bought a brand new Gatorade, heated it up, went into this SAT program, man, and pissed dirty. And didn't even piss, yeah. So they're like, well, you can give us $15, send it off to the lab, and if it ain't dirty for real, it'll come back and it'll tell us. And then, in the meantime, we'll wait till it comes back to get with your PO. I give them the $15, I'll never show back up.
Wow.
Yeah.
It probably came back clean, though.
It may have, but I wouldn't. It probably came back as not human piss.
Yeah.
For real, it's what it probably came back as, man. And so I didn't show back up, and got a warrant put out on me, and I got locked back up, man, and I ended up serving out the rest of my time in Louisville Metro, and got back out and did the same thing, man. Without going into too much detail because of the time, man, I did this in and out, man. I've been to 10 rehabs, inpatient. That's, I've been to many detoxes too. I've been out to California 4 times. AMA'd from rehabs in California, man. Took off walking on foot, didn't know a soul, man. Found my drug of choice, found prostitutes, found a gangbanger, and got a hotel room. On foot, man, in a place I've never been a day in my life. And that's when I figured out the problem wasn't the drugs, man. The problem was me. Because I didn't figure it out in the moment, but I have now through working these 12 steps, man, that the problem was me, because I can go anywhere across this world, man, and guess what? I'm still gonna find a way to fuck my life up.
I heard you mention earlier, and I want to just come back to it. You said you couldn't do it no matter what.
No matter what?
You had to use no matter what.
No matter what.
And the amazing thing about the program, now we don't use no matter what.
Yeah, now I don't use no matter what,
yeah,
man.
we use that same phrase that I use no matter what.
Yeah.
And now I don't use no matter what.
Yeah.
And just to hear that correlation, man.
Yeah.
It sounds good. It sounded different when you said it.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what. Now
is a beautiful process.
Stop me when you say the name of my podcast is God First Ministry. So I want to not get religious, but just in fact of a higher power. What do y'all think about the progress where you are at now compared to where you was? What happened? Was it, did it just happen? Does it just happen? I know my answer, but I'm just saying for you all, what? Lean on a power greater yourself, God, or what's your thoughts?
For me, man, when I started first coming in and out of these rooms, I refused to believe in any type of God, any type of anything like that. And then I had a sponsor back then that told me, man, you better figure out something to believe in. And for me, getting started, it was as simple as believing that 2 addicts in recovery were more powerful than me. That was my power greater than me, man. I used the rooms of 12-step fellowships to be a power greater than myself. That's what I had to use for a long time. Through doing that, in the years of doing that, and now actually working an honest program, now instead of like looking over and seeing somebody else get down on their knees in the morning and saying, would y'all look at this clown and the shit he believes? Now I'm the one getting up and hitting my knees in the morning, man. And now I believe in a God, man. And yeah, man. Like that never would have been me. This is how messed up my mind was, man. I went and got a cross tattoo on my back, and then walked around telling everybody I didn't believe in God.
Come on, man. Talk about it.
That was me, man. I got a cross. If we wasn't on this TV, I'd show you. I got a cross tattoo on my back right now, and used to have the nerve to walk around with no shirt on, so people see it. Tell people I don't believe in God.
Come on, man. It don't even make sense, though.
No, it don't make sense. These 12-step programs, man, brought me to a point to where I'm able to believe in God, and I'm grateful for that, man. Because if you miss the spiritual part of this, man, you miss the whole thing.
I believe that too.
I do too.
Sharing that, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's important that the viewers and listeners know that that's why we're at, man. It ain't that I just chose to change my life. Because if we could change our life, personally, me, if I could change my life, I'd have been did it, man. I'd just stop. I couldn't do it, man.
And we've had faith in everything except a higher power.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
The whole time, man. I had faith in the one person I should have never had faith in me.
Yeah,
Me.
I love it.
Yeah. My sponsor told me that sticks, man.
Yeah, some simple stuff, Cody, man. It's amazing. I listen. I'm outside the box listening to y'all, man. It resonates to me different, man. When I heard y'all saying some stuff.
And it makes things, I mean, we make things, as addicts, we tend to make things a lot more complicated. And the fact that we're supposed to have faith in this higher power, most of us, I know for me personally, both of my parents were not necessarily religious until a certain point, but they were spiritual, they were Christian.
Yes.
And it was like, I didn't have a choice, like God exists and that's that. And it's like we're supposed to, and for me, I am a natural rebel. So I'm going to question things that I'm supposed to believe. And if I feel like I don't have a choice, then I'm going to create a choice, And there was one point for me where I didn't believe in a higher power at all. And about a week after I came to that conclusion, I got in a car wreck where I flipped end over end, going about 90 miles an hour, and came out with not a scratch on me.
What'd you do? What'd you say?
Well, at that point,
yeah,
right?
Atheists and agnostic people, I remember when I used to tell them, they said, I don't believe in God at all. And then I was like, man, as soon as they hit their finger, like they be nailing something, they hit their finger first. God! Like, why are you saying God?
Who are you talking to?
God? I think you're probably saying it because they can't nobody else right now heal that and make it feel better. But God.
Yeah.
That's why you subconsciously say God.
Yeah.
And for a person to say that it's not a God has to be yeah, it's only you and no one else.
Right.
Yeah, I'm start wrapping up.
Yeah.
And just give y'all a insight on what y'all would like someone, the end summary of what you said, and we'll wrap it up. Cydney, you go first.
Ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first.
Oh, I don't have to count the money?
No,
I can talk.
She's talking about, to my viewers, I just want to let them know what she's talking about. We went to a meeting last night, and we was talking about some business that takes place later on. And Cody, he just instinctively said, Cydney knows how to camp well. Like, she can take care of the books real well, so he just automatically put her in a box. And she's been talking back a little slick to us ever since that we said that. But yeah, Cydney, you can do whatever you want to do.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
I know you are.
Well, I mean, basically, like, my main thing is I feel like I got to where I'm at. Well, I know that I got to where I'm at because of my journey. And I know that I created a lot of the madness. It was very like, poor me, to a T. And I know now that that God is the center of everything that has happened in my life, that I've been through. It was all for a reason. I'm so grateful to have gone through the things that I went through, the good and the bad, because it just puts things in a perspective that I understand. Not everybody has to go through the things that I went through in order to have this perspective. It's everybody's journey is their own. And I think that one important thing to remember is that if you're new to this game, you don't have to go into it focusing on the things that you don't believe. Just it goes back to take what you need and leave the rest. But don't be surprised when you change your way of thinking. And welcome it. Just remain teachable. Try following that up.
Now I gotta try to top this. So this is the end of our podcast.
Okay, bye.
Yeah. Cydney, so much we love you.
I love y'all too.
What is the question again, sir?
You're summing up
where we're at now.
Where you're at now, and what you have to share with the person listening that may need to find hope and some reason to find a new way of life.
Well, this is God first. So the first thing, most important, is that I'm a person that never, ever, ever would have believed in anything more powerful than me, and now I do. That is a miracle for me, and another thing is, I get to be a father today to my kids, man. I don't have them in my life every day, and I can't sit here and say I do, but I'm able to do things. I'm able to not spend their Christmas present money on dope today, man, and go spend all my money on these kids to have a great Christmas. Even though it ain't about the presents, it's just the fact that I can be there and do that and be broke and be fine the next morning. Like, wake up broke and be fine for that day. I'm able to do that, man. I'm able to be employable. I'm able to have real relationships where I really care about people today, man, and people really care about me. I'm not just in it for whatever I can get out of the situation, because I can give a shit less what people got today. It ain't about that with me no more. And it was always about that for me. If you didn't have something to offer me, there wasn't nothing I needed you for. What the hell was I going to say? There's something else. I felt like there was something else important I had to fucking say here.
It's okay.
But anyway, and I get to go you know, through working these steps and getting plugged into this community and having a higher power, it put my God, that puts me in these situations. Like, you know, I got to go to a rehab yesterday and speak to other guys, man. And I've never been on that side of the table. You know what I mean? I've always been the one in shackles or been the one in a rehab, sitting there listening like, God, I wish these dudes would shut the hell up. It's cigarette time, you know, and that shit, man, be able to do that and give back without wanting a damn thing out of it, it's crazy for people like me. I get to start making amends, and for people like me, man, and most addicts, like, I wasn't supposed to ever get the chance to make these amends. I was supposed to be in prison or dead. It's that simple, man. And that's, you know, that's the part that's giving me. It's letting me build back relationships and help other people, man, like I was helped.
Thank you, God, man. I just want to follow up a little bit about what you said, because I know how it feels to go speak to him. I also was going on the other end, and also, not only did I want you to hurry up sometimes, but sometimes when I really wanted to work a program and I just found myself back in rehab, I was saying, boy, I wish I could be like them.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could do that. Like, I wish I could stay clean long enough to come back.
Yeah.
To get back. And yeah, I understand exactly what you mean, man. I've been on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
To where like, I'm like, shut up. And then sometimes I was so desperate and I just couldn't find the cover. I didn't want to listen and humble myself and do what you told me to do.
Yeah.
And so I was always finding myself back in rehab with a new toothbrush and a new bag.
But something clicked, man, or you would never went back to rehab. You didn't go back to rehab because you knew for sure it didn't work. You went back because you heard something and you knew it worked.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, man. That's why it's important that we go to meetings and listen. And sometimes, man, I don't know about y'all, but for me, sometimes I think I will hear something in a meeting, but that thing will stick subconsciously in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And I'll use it when I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's important for me to always be vigilant and listen, man. And never choose where my help comes from, dude. You never know. You know, sometimes I lean. I was in jail one time, and this dude said he was doing some time, man. He said, man, I wish I could help my family out, my kids. I do this, I do that. I always been an influential person. Like, you know, I was motivated regardless of whatever. Once I had a clear mind, so when I was in jail, I wasn't using. And I had a good clear mind. I said, look, brother, I always know somebody, if it's good or bad, you can affect that person. And what I mean by that, Cody and Cydney, is when you tell somebody and show them a way in life from experience, that person might be dead or gone. And something they said years ago, I will make a conscious decision based on what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, personally. And so I got to share with him. I said, man, it's not true, man. Have you ever told your child or disciplined your child to show them the right way or the wrong way? He said, yeah. I said, man, helping him with not even being right. Like, it might be a point in his life right now or next week. If you're doing 2 years in prison, within that 2-year period that you're doing in prison, he might come across a decision that he has to make. And what you told him, he did not do it because of what you told him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have to be in the present.
Right.
Sometimes you only have to be alive to still help somebody. And I think it's the most important thing that I understand that God downloaded to me. That I don't have to be in the present. And I only have to be alive to affect somebody else's life in a positive or a negative way.
Yeah.
It's the same way that they can do something positive about what I said, also make a decision to do something negative. Because they can say, I never told us that he would do this if he was in the situation. And they do it the wrong way. So it's very important that I don't think that I don't affect people. Man, I affect people every single time that I deal with them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And whatever actions I do, man, I got to be vigilant and aware that people is watching me when I don't think they watch.
I tell people that all the time, man. There's people watching you that you don't even realize is looking.
Yes. It's very, very important, man. And so we, in essence, man, us as addicts, recovering addicts, we carry a lot of weight. Like, you know, we think we go get clean and we got 30, 60, 96 months clean. We think it's just all about us. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not about us, man. That's the most beautiful thing in this process that I've realize that it ain't about me. It's just about the day that I go and don't use. Somebody else gets affected by their behavior.
Yeah.
And I help them without me even knowing it. That's why I think it's very important. I speak about this a lot. That I think it's very important that people talk about. They tell people and congratulate them. And tell them how good of a job they're doing. Because sometimes I need that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all like me, but you don't tell me I'm doing good. I'll let that sickness, man, overthrow me, and I'll stop doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So I want to tell you, man, I'm proud of you for going to the recovery works, man. At rehab, man, and sharing your experience. I want to tell you congratulations and thank you.
You too.
Cydney, I want to tell you thank you for coming on my podcast.
Thank you.
Expressing, I thank you for real honesty. Expressing the way you feel about your looks and your outer feelings, and you wanted to mask who you was, and it didn't affect your inside, that you was dying inside, even though you was beautiful on the outside. I want to really thank you for that, and continue to share that, because you affect somebody when you don't know that you affect them. And the problem is, to all my listeners, man, tell somebody, if somebody helps you, if somebody says something that helps you get through a situation, it's very important that you let that person know and tell them thank you, so they will continue to do what they're doing in order for them to help someone else like they helped you.